I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. What is life? Welcome, welcome, welcome to the TCAT 10-minute take. It is I, your host, Sheree L. Stewart, coming from the lovely depths of space. And with me, as always, in the bottom of a bunk bed,
Yes.
is my intrepid co-host, Don, the man, the myth, the legend Chambers.
Oh,
This is
kids,
life now. Oh, there's a
kids.
spider on the ceiling. Awesome. So things have been unraveling. Obviously, I'm sure you've noticed over the weeks things have been unraveling slowly.
Mm,
And to cap that off, we've had a listener request
yes.
for listener viewer, I guess a viewer. This was a YouTube request for
Hmm.
us to watch a movie, another Danish movie, because we watched Riders of Justice.
Right.
And so this was another Mads Mikkelsen movie. This one's much older. So we watched it, and this movie's called Flickering
Flickering
Lights or
lights.
Flickering Lanterns, depending on the translation. Yeah. But before we get started, make sure you click that subscribe and you click that bell to get all the 10-minute takes as soon as they drop. Now, as always, I will let Mr. Chambers go first.
Yes.
Yeah.
Flickering lights. It's a 2000. That's when it came out.
That's
Movie
20 years now. Yeah.
directed by Anders Thomas Jensen. Obviously starring Mads Mikkelsen, also Ulrich Thomsen, Soren Pilmark, Nicolaj Kaas, and Sophie Grable. I'm probably destroying these names, but the gist of this movie is four friends: Torkild, Peter, Arnie, played by Mads, and Stefan, who find themselves and change their lives. Look, let me just kind of put a brief pin on this. I'm going to our viewers and listeners. There are no wrong movie suggestions. There really aren't. All movie suggestions are great movie suggestions. I'm just going to let you know, we just might not like your suggestion. That's all.
One or the other, or
One
both, or neither.
both. Yeah, right. So for this movie, it's the four friends who seem to be working for this guy called the Eskimo, some sort of low-level or mid-level crime boss, maybe. And they do jobs for him. They don't seem to be incredibly successful. You know, they seem like a really odd bunch, to be honest. And one of them, Torkil, I guess he's at a point in his life. He says he's in his 40s. He decides he wants more than just doing this. They do a job for the Eskimo where it turns out they have like 4 million Danish dollars. So they take the money, they run. They end up buying a restaurant. They have weird, quirky meetings with some of the odd locals. And they change their lives for the better and become restaurateurs. Listen, I'm all down for any kind of Mads Mikkelsen movie. I love him. He's a great guy. This movie, though, it didn't really grab me because you see the steps coming. So I'm like, all right, let's see how this sort of plays out. I didn't get enough of just maybe how much they hated what they, well, only one really seemed to hate what they were doing. The other three just kind of went along. The little back flashbacks as to each one, like their childhood, I thought was interesting because it really showed the dysfunction that they came from, and all three came from some really weird dysfunction. But it never, there's only like that one sort of brief scene where you see how they initially meet, but you don't get any sense of, well, then how did they necessarily bond to become friends? So I don't, to me that seemed to be lost. The whole transformation felt like it was really just the one character just sort of leading his other friends along, and they just sort of like fell into it. I don't know. It just felt kind of like, and then at the end, I was like, oh, okay. Look, the movie was quick. It didn't drag. It moved. It was here and then done.
Where would you put it on our scale?
Oh, hey, it's on Amazon Prime, so there's nothing wrong with paying the 99 cents to rent the movie and watch it on Amazon Prime. I would leave it right there. I'm not jumping on paying a full price ticket seats in the theater. No.
Okay. Well, okay. So this was a recommendation by our YouTube listener, Mike. No last name. YouTube listener, Mike. And
hey, keep the recommendations coming, Mike. Not a problem.
You know what? Because he was like, you guys would love this movie. And he was half right, because I really like this movie. It was definitely slow. I've been on this kick, though. Like I told you, we're going to start doing that 90s 90 of watching these 90s movies. And that is kind of the style of the movies of that decade. This movie came out in 2000, and it definitely is, it's got a slower pace.
But it's not a long movie, though. Right. It doesn't drag.
But I do feel like I really enjoyed oh, sorry, I'm itching. I'm scratching my tattoo I got from my nephew. It's a purple dinosaur. But it drags a little in a way that I do wish there was more with the kids. Like I thought it was interesting. It was just such a weird
their backgrounds, yes.
Movie, because it had like these elements that were almost cartoony, but then you've got to think about them as memories and not flashbacks. Like when the one kid is remembering being locked in the closet in that little wardrobe, but he's in there for literal days and days.
I was like,
spends his
what?
birthday in there, and then he comes out and he's clean and not like soiled, and there's no going. But it's like it's a memory of some shit from your childhood. It's not like a flashback. So then once you start taking these as memories and not as flashbacks, then their weird inconsistencies make more sense. Like the Torvald with his one with the apple tree, like
yes.
it was just, as a kid who took on this event, like his father's suicide, it might not have had nothing to do with that apple tree. You know what I'm saying? But it's like how he's remembered it and taken it on as a dysfunction. And, the way the other kid, and if you notice throughout the movie, he's always eating.
Yes, Stefan.
Like he's always eating, and he's always taking like huge bites. And that was part of his like dysfunction from his family of like being forced to be like this perfect proper person, taking tiny bites and never messing up anything on the table. And then like his sister's having a literal miscarriage, and his mother's more concerned with the carpet than his sister, maybe dying or baby. And it's like, and then you get they're coming from these four extremely dysfunctional. And it was interesting too with the one from the cupboard, and how like he didn't want to smoke those cigarettes, but then he winds up being like the drug addict, and it's like, how did he get? I would have liked to see more of how they got from their childhood to where they wound up in their 40s. I did like the transition for Mads Mikkelsen's character, specifically Arnie's transition was really cool for me. His journey of being just like this angry, almost a psychopath, but it's just this angry kid who
I think he was psychotic a little bit.
But he wasn't. And then it's like him being able to bond with that weird townsman and find his place, hunting and be able to kind of find peace for himself in a place was nice to see. But there were some things that were kind of madcap and cartoony, like with the cows. I have to admit, I did laugh out loud at that.
When he
killed the first one, but when he drove up and there were just like dead cows everywhere. I have to admit, like I actually laughed out loud at that. But
Uh,
and then they were hiding out in this restaurant, and then they just sort of bought into the cover of it, and it it just, I don't know. I thought it was a sweet movie in a weird, twisted. If I'm gonna watch a heartwarming family movie,
mm-hmm.
it's gonna be like this. It's not gonna be your typical Hallmark
Okay.
heartwarming family movie. It's going to be weird. It's going to be violent. It's going to be just off-putting. It's gonna have strange characters who do weird things for weird reasons. I hated that girlfriend, and I was glad that he punched her
Sure
in
in
the
the face.
face. And that makes me feel like a bad person, because obviously that's a bad person
I'm
thing
not
to
gonna
do.
lie.
You know what?
When he punched her and she was like, "What just happened?"
I would
Okay,
be
I
like,
laughed. I laughed. I said, "God damn, he hit her so hard, she got amnesia."
she lost 5 minutes.
I was like, Jesus Christ.
You know what? She deserved that. That punch in the face.
True enough, but I was like, God,
Stefan told her to rein that shit in. Rein it in. Rein it in. And
that
what
was
she do?
that was a punch in the face.
That was
Yeah.
definitely a punch in the face. I would say, okay, so our time is up.
So
But
your
I
rating?
my rating. I would put this as a it's not opening night. It's not matinee. This is okay, this is a new one that I'm going to throw out at you.
Uh oh.
Right. Okay. This is a Wednesday night art house cinema
Ooh.
outing
Ooh.
with a date you're trying to impress.
Ooh, it sounds bougie.
Yes, it's bougie. Like, if
Oh.
you're gonna go to like the art house cinema in Santa Monica on like a Wednesday, and this was playing, and like you're say you're a guy though, and you want to impress a girl, but you want to also watch a movie that's like it's full of violence and blood and nonsense. Like, this would be that kind of a movie.
And you tell her,
So-
oh, it's foreign.
Yeah. Exactly.
Got
But
it.
it's worth like a lower price movie ticket. I don't think it's worth like $15,
$15.
$18, $20, but it was better than most. I mean, it's on Tubi right now for free. It's better than free, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I probably would have preferred that without all the commercials.
That's true.
But it's
That's
definitely better than free.
And what is even better than free as well, TCAT Network. Did you like that transition?
I love the transition.
I'm trying to find a spot for transition, but better than free, tcatnetwork.com, where you go there. We have all the links to all of our podcast episodes, as well as Good Morning Antioch and The Reading. So make sure you bookmark goodmorningantioch.com, as well as subscribe and hit the bell so you're always notified here on YouTube whenever we post another review. So to our tens of listeners, and is it Mike?
Yes, Mike.
Mike, we greatly appreciate the suggestion. I'm sorry it didn't touch me in the right way.
Thanks.
Sheree liked it, but if you have some more, feel free to give them, and to our tens of listeners as well. Your suggestions are always welcome. Whatever it is, we will see it as soon as we can, and then we will kind of give our take on it. Maybe you have the same taste as we do, maybe not. Either way, it's all good. But it's always good to see something new, something different, and sort of, who knows, maybe we'll find a new favorite movie in the world. But that's going to be very hard to replace Rocky IV, which is the best movie ever made. Don't care what anybody says. But till next time, see ya.